Joining the show today is one of us by way of 5 seasons behind the Minnesota Wild bench, never missing the playoffs, all while amassing or pacing over 100 points in each of the 4 first seasons. Dean Evason. Thanks for jumping on with us, Dean.
Thanks for having me, guys.
First question we ask everybody here. First couple are a little unorthodox, but first time you saw the Minnesota Wild, every time you look at the logo, what do you see? What is it?
I think it's a cool uniform. That's what I see right away. It's a fantastic logo, obviously, and yeah. I mean, what I first saw, I don't know. I saw excitement, obviously. I saw certainly when I first got a job, I was very excited to get back to the NHL from Milwaukee, so that was very exciting. And now when I see it, I have extremely fond memories of my time and our time there. Not only playing, coaching games, obviously, but being in the community. I love the people there. We loved the cities. Spent a lot of time away from the rink as well, and got to know a lot of really fantastic people. So not only outside, but inside the organization as well.
You'd be surprised the answers we get to that question too, because they look at the logo, like they see one player saw a UFO, one player saw a bear, one player saw trees in the background. So some people had a little different take on what they actually saw in the logo itself, like a Rorschach test. But
well, you know what, it's funny because I've had this conversation before. Like, people have asked me, what do you see? And I look at it and I go, well, I see the logo. Like, I don't necessarily look for if it's a bear or if it's a lion or it's a tiger or whatever. I don't know all the things. It's just the Minnesota Wild, and it's the the crest on your chest that you go out and play for every night.
Well, as you probably saw, the name of the podcast is Fellowship of the Rink. And so it's a stick tap to Lord of the Rings. We're big fans of the movie. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie series or not. We simply ask people what their favorite off ice kind of passion is. And I think a lot of fans probably don't know how interested you are in theater and shows. And I was curious how you got started with that. What sparked your passion for it? And it seems like it's a big part of your everyday life.
Well, funny story. When I was in junior, I read Lord of the Rings. I've actually never seen the movie. I was really engulfed with it back then as a 17-year-old. It really captivated my imagination, and it was exciting. I've avoided watching the movie because I've had such wonderful memories of reading the book. I don't read a whole lot anymore with this job. It's this bloody computer consumes your time. But yeah, as far as I mentioned getting out into the community and all of that, I dove into a lot of theater. I love the theater. I love any live performance, and certainly sports, any sports, baseball, the Saints, the Wolves, the Twins. We've seen a lot of games, obviously the Vikings, and I love to go to anything that's live. I think the opportunity to see somebody perform at the highest level, if that's at sports or if that's in the arts, is exciting for me.
Have you seen Book of Mormon?
You know what? My wife and I just talked about that. That's one that I have. I had a couple opportunities in New York last year to go, but I said, I didn't want to go to a comedy by myself. Like, a lot of times when I get to New York, I throw my bags in and I go down and I see whatever show's available. Sometimes I'll book ahead or whatever, sometimes a couple shows, but I'm like, I don't want to go there and laugh my butt off and look over and, see somebody I don't know. So anyway, I'm waiting to do it with my wife. She's a huge theater person as well. We've gone, a couple of weeks ago, we went, saw the Yankees, and we saw Cabaret in New York. So yeah, but I haven't seen it yet. Is it good? I've heard it's great.
I love it personally, but that's also like right in my wheelhouse for comedy. So I'm excited to hear your review once you go, being a true theater buff.
Well, Joe doesn't see comedy because he's got no sense of humor. I've tried to joke with him for years, and he just blows me off. He just asks me all these serious questions.
Jokes or gives me shit. I don't know. One of the two. They're razzing me too. I know Aaron Sickman gets a lot of razzing too, so I know both of us.
Yeah, I miss Eric, but I've got a guy in Todd in Columbus already that we've got a nice relationship with.
So your top 3 shows then? You have a top 3 shows you've seen?
Phantom's probably one, Moulin Rouge, and I like Les Mis a lot. So, but I could go on forever. I've got an exciting playbill book that I keep. Well, it's in storage right now. It'll be in our Columbus home soon. But I love leafing through it and seeing all the shows that not only myself but my wife and family, my kids. Well, one of my kids really enjoys it. 2 of my kids don't.
All right, so we know who the favorite is. Perfect.
yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to Red Rocks to see Dierks Bentley with my youngest daughter next week.
Have you been?
My wife and I went about a month ago. Saw Sarah McLachlan, Canadian. It's an incredible venue.
Oh,
I had no idea. Yeah, I had no idea that it was even there. And my wife's like, "Yeah, we're going to Red Rock," and I'm going, "What? Where are we going?" And you get there, and it's stunning. Yeah. Stunning. Obviously, 100-foot red rocks, amphitheater. It's So I immediately booked, and I asked. Well, I hope my kids won't see this, but I asked my youngest daughter, and not the other 2.
Is that also the one that happens to like theater?
Actually, no. It's she's just a concert person. The other one, nice. She's more sporty, but she loves country music, so that was the draw there.
Fair. We just talked to you beforehand, and congratulations, obviously, on your daughter getting married. Did you cry during your toast or your speech, or how you rank your emotions in that speech one?
Bawled like a baby. Are you kidding me? I have an older son. He's 35 and a grandson, and obviously blubbered through that too. But yeah, this is my middle daughter. So yeah, it was very emotional. It's as you guys know, I do have a bit of passion and a bit of emotion both ways, and yeah, I think it's healthy. My mom taught me a long time ago, just let it rip. So. Yeah, I kept my sunglasses on the whole time. But yeah, I was soaked.
I mean, speaking of just let it rip with the emotions, what makes Darby Hendrickson so punchable when you win a hockey game?
He is, well, one, he's like a brick. I can't say, house. He's ripped. Like, he's just a massive man, but he is, you know what? And I know Darby's going to Nashville now, but he's been there a long time in Minnesota, and the people know exactly, I think, who he is. He was a player and a broadcaster and a coach. He's absolutely salt of the earth, team first. He doesn't get super excited, but it's inside. He's got such passion, and so I don't know. He's probably the closest guy. When we first kind of got excited and started that thing, I was probably happy that it wasn't hitting Brett McLean because he's a little smaller.
Were you aware just how much like fans talk about that, the lore there? Everyone's like waiting after the game for you to go over and swing at Darby?
No, as Joe's probably told you, I don't have any social media. I don't read articles. I'm sure Joe writes very well, and I'm sure this podcast is fantastic, but I don't watch them. I just good or bad. I just never have. I just feel that it kind of distracts both ways. Like, if people are saying so many nice things about you, you get all pumped up, and then if you say crappy things, you get down. And so I try to stay level keel, and it's important to understand the fans and relate to the fans, but it's not necessarily something that I take into the room when I'm coaching the hockey team. So, but I love to talk to fans, and I have heard, and the one thing that I've heard is that people have said to me, like, personally, like, do you do it on purpose? Do you know the cameras are on you? And no, of course not, right? I mean, you're just in the moment. You're just, and I was getting excited, and a lot of times I've tried to stay calm, and everybody's like, well, you got to stay calm, and so your group stays calm. And I mean, certainly in situations you have to do that, but I don't think it's a terrible thing for the players to understand that you're as excited as they are. And we score a goal or we win in overtime, my gosh, I'm jacked too, right? I mean, why wait till I get back to the dressing room to get excited, right? I mean, we just scored. I'm jacked. So, I think it's a positive thing.
One story you might have read of mine is my trip to Kamloops. I really enjoyed getting to know kind of your backstory with that one. I think fans really learned a lot about kind of where you came from and why you do what you do. And I was just curious, since I know it's such a formative time in your life, like what do you think kind of shaped how you coach or how you are, just by that, what you built a forge there, and like just your experience there? How did that kind of shape the kind of coach you are today, including in Columbus?
Well, after you got me fired in Minnesota, Joe, I read your article, as you know, and I loved it. As you know, we've talked about this before, and with Mike, and I've never, I guess the part, I don't like articles that are on me, but your article I really enjoyed because it was about our team and about the success that we had and how the franchise took off from those years that we were in Kamloops, and kind of set the foundation for the great franchise that the Kamloops Junior, well, not Junior Oilers, the Kamloops Blazers are today, and winning all the Memorial Cups and the championships. So it was a fantastic article, and yes, it did shape a lot of who I am as not only a player, certainly. I don't think I would have played in the National Hockey League without having the firmness and the push from Bill LaForge, our coach, and all the great teammates that I had there and had the success. And I don't think I would have played in the National Hockey League, but I think it did shape a lot of who I am as a coach. I've taken a lot of different pieces from a lot of different coaches along the way, but certainly the first real coach that I related to and looked up to was Bill LaForge in Kamloops.
Was it like 50 hits on the board, or did you write that 50 hits or something like that, or 50 something on the board for you guys? And very colorful way to.
Yeah, we had to. Yeah, you had to tape up. We had a 50 placed on as we went out to the rink, and you had to get 50 shots and 50 hits, and you had to punch it as hard as you could when you left. Now it's a different time. I think he expected us to get 50 fights every night too. But yeah, that was so on the road we had to tape it a 50, a number 50, and everybody had to punch it on their way out so that we got 50 hits that night.
I'm sure you've talked about this a lot before. You mentioned 50 fights in a game, but you fought Dale Hunter 3 times in one period, I believe it was, if that's physically possible. And I don't know what sparked that, or like, I know all different reasons, I'm sure, but why the hell did you do that?
Well, it's physically possible. It just hurts like hell. Dale's a big guy. Like he's thick, and to fight him 3 times, my neck, I couldn't move for I don't know. It was hard, but you know what? I ended up coaching with Dale, but he came in as a head coach in Washington when I was there as assistant coach. He kept me on. But prior to that, we were both in Kelowna at a Memorial Cup. I was coaching junior, he was coaching junior, and anyway, we had sat at a adult establishment and talked about it. And literally both of us said we were trying to survive. You were trying to stay in the National Hockey League. You're trying to play in the National Hockey League, and you're trying to win. And you were trying to help your hockey club win. He was playing for the Quebec Nordiques. It was in Quebec, and something had happened in the game, and we just fought naturally. And then when we got to the face-off circle after we got out, he looked at me and he says, "Do you want to go again?" And I, sure. Like, I was whatever. I just, you're not going to turn stuff down back then. And then we got out and we both looked at each other the next time and we didn't say a word. We just fought. And then it was 50. Yeah, it seems really weird to say that you fought somebody 3 times in one period, but to say that you fought the same guy 3 times, and then we got kicked out, obviously. It was 3 fights, thank goodness, because I wouldn't have been able to move. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to make a living, trying to help our hockey club win.
And I swear this isn't just a fight-based podcast, but the fans would never forgive me if I didn't ask you about the altercation with Rick Bowness between the glass. Yeah.
Well, there wasn't an altercation. Sometimes you wish it was, but that glass kind of holds you, and you're wearing dress shoes, so it's kind of silly, actually, to be honest with you. But no, he was yelling at me, and I think there was a couple of fights in the game, and he was upset, thought that maybe I had sent the guy out, which I've never done in my entire career. As a guy that has fought, I would never say to somebody, "You need to go out there and do this." That's on the player. That's not something that I've ever done, ever, and I won't do that. But same thing. It was actually last year. We were in Chicago at the player or the coaches, general managers meeting in Chicago. It's the first time that I had seen him since that incident. And he came up and we were chatting. I was like, Bones, I said, what are you yelling at me? And he says, I was just yelling at you because you had Ryan Reeves and I didn't have Ryan Reeves, and I was really upset about it. But we had a good chuckle about it. But I didn't yell. I just asked him to come over if he wanted to.
You were quite calm.
Yeah, it was a whole thing like that. It's obviously an exciting, crazy time for you in your life. Congratulations on the Columbus Blue Jackets job. What excites you or intrigues you the most about this club? Obviously, they're going through some rebuilding, lot of young players, but they clearly need a little bit of a culture change there too, it seems like. Just what intrigues you the most about this opportunity?
Yeah, I think you nailed a lot of them right there, Joe. Is that certainly the franchise hasn't a good foundation, right? But we all know, you can get into all the stuff that's gone on the last couple of years with Columbus and the coaching changes and kind of the turmoil that's happened, and just speaking with the players. Obviously, I've had a chance to speak with almost every player. A couple are in Europe that I haven't spoke to yet, but they want some stability. They want some foundation, or to build on the foundation and the structure and all that. I don't use the word culture a lot. I think it gets overused, but we do want to kind of change the atmosphere in that dressing room. We believe that there is a very well-rounded group there. Yes, people talk about they're young and we're young and skilled and all that kind of stuff, but we've got some veteran guys in there that are, play a two-way game, that have bite, that have skill, veteran guys. And I think we've got a nice mix of everything, some offense, some guys that, play defense, and maybe our depth needs to be strengthened. But you're right. It's not unlike when we came into Minnesota. There wasn't a lot of, pieces or, a lot of excitement about different, but we were able to build an atmosphere in there, a team first mentality. I do believe that's one of my strengths is to bring a group together and play hard each and every night for each other. And that's what I'm excited about with our new coaching staff, to get after it and create that atmosphere in that room that allows the guys to go out and play hard for each other and hopefully win hockey games.
What I've always loved about you, Dean, is how honest you are. You may not give all the answers to us in the media, but at least you tell them how you feel. And I love in your opening press conference in Columbus how you were asked about the opening night again Minnesota, and you were like, "Of course, it means something." And I was just wanted to get your take on what does it mean to you? What will that emotions be like going back and that first game?
Yeah, Joe. There'll be tons of emotions, obviously. I've said this several times, but I'm like people are like, oh, it's just another game. That's bull. It's not just another game. The Minnesota Wild fired me in November. There's that. There's all the emotions of the staff and the fans and you guys and all the times that I've walked through in that tunnel and went into that dressing room. There's a lot of emotions that are going to be stirred up. So yeah, it's exciting. Now, do I want to win that hockey game more than I want to win the 10th game of the season or the 60th game of the season? No, I want to win each game equally, as passionate about getting the victory. But yeah, there's going to be emotions. It's going to be exciting. And I'm really looking forward to
it. I talked to other coaches who go into another job after having their first head coaching job, and they say how much they learned and how much they took from it, and how, hey, I'll do something different next time, right? You've had some several months before you took over this job, probably to decompress and think about things. Like, now that you've had that experience to look back, like, what kind of things have you learned from your first one that can kind of help you in this one, in terms of things you might do differently or things you might have, taken from that?
Yeah, no, there's so many, probably, I'm not going to go through a list of them, but there's in all areas, in structure areas, systematically, as far as how we're going to play. I've had an opportunity to obviously sit and watch hockey throughout the year and the playoffs. I had an opportunity to go to Prague and the World Championships and be an assistant coach of Team Canada and pick the brain of the other coaches systematically and how they deal with players, how their presentations are before the games, and how the post-game interviews are. I'm able to sit in the room and watch those and yeah, maybe I should have did this instead of did that during a press conference, in the past, or maybe the system in the neutral zone. I like that better than what we did in Minnesota. So we're going to tweak it. So yeah, I think going through that situation, being a head coach in the National Hockey League is there's a lot to do. There's a lot of different balls in the air that you have to look after. But I know what they are now, right? I know how to handle them. I've been through that, so I can draw on those experiences moving forward. So 100%. I do understand now after getting fired. I've been fired before, but I haven't been fired in the National Hockey League as a head coach. Now I have. Now I get that opportunity. I truly believe I'm a better coach now than I was prior to getting fired with the Minnesota Wild.
Talk about coaching a thoroughbred like Kirill Kaprizov. What do you have to do differently with a guy like that?
Open the gate. That's it. Just open the gate and let him go. Kirill is unique, right? I've told this story before. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but maybe not. We were struggling a couple of years ago, and Billy Guerin called me and said Kaprizov's agent asked him if he could meet you tomorrow morning. So I'm rushing around. He was struggling a little bit. We were struggling. I'm rushing around getting all the numbers as far as how much he's played on the power play and how many minutes he's played and all of that, so that when he comes in, he's not, I've got some information that listen, I'm playing you the right way. He sat down and he said, I said, what's up? And he goes, what can I do more or differently or better to help us win hockey games? Simple as that. So fans see his passion, see skill set, see his drive, see his tenacity on the ice. But what you don't see is in the locker room what a teammate he is. And he already is a leader on that hockey club. People look to him to, like, every day in practice, in the gym. He's the ultimate worker. And combined with that skill set and that mentality of team first, makes him the superstar that he is.
Obviously, a guy you know too is Freddy Gaudreau, guy who's a good relationship with. I know he respects you a lot. Rough year last year, a lot of injuries. I think from the first third game of the season, got hurt. I don't think he was ever the same since then. Did you watch him the rest of the year? Like, what do you think about Freddy and maybe kind of a bounce back year for him?
Yeah, well, as you know, I don't read all the stuff, but I have been told that, you know, the fans are all over him. We should trade him, and when Evason gets a job, he's going to get to wherever Evason is and all that.
Oh, you heard about that?
Yeah, sure. Man, you know what? I'd love to have him. You know why? Because he's a great player, and he's an unbelievable person. So yeah, of course, if Freddy Gaudreau, you want to trade Freddy Gaudreau to us, that would be fantastic. Of course, I don't have anything to do with that. But yeah, listen, Freddy, what I just said about Kirill Kaprizov is Freddy Gaudreau. He's just not as skilled as Kirill is, but he is as passionate. He is as driven, and he is as team first as anyone you're ever going to meet. And I shouldn't say this because I'm not 100%, but I haven't asked for a lot of players in my coaching career, because I've only been a head coach in National Hockey League. So in the minors, you don't really get an opportunity to say, I want this guy, I want that. But I did ask Billy Guerin if there's an opportunity to get Freddy Gaudreau here, he was in Pittsburgh, then that would be fantastic. I just told him who he is, what he is, how versatile he is, how he plays right wing, he plays center, kills penalties, can play on your power play. My gosh, why wouldn't you want? He's in fantastic shape. He's a tremendous person. So to the fans that are listening, you got to remember he's a human being too, and remember that he was banged up last year, and he is a great player. He'll be a great player for the Minnesota Wild, and if they want to give him to the Columbus Blue Jackets, by all means.
I'm sure Bill Guerin will listen to the podcast and be able to set you up with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to watch for sure.
Have you guys talked ever since I know it's emotional the day of they let you go? Like, you and Billy caught up since then in different situations like that? I know you guys had a lot of respect for each other, even towards the end.
Yep. Yeah, we spoke on the phone a couple of times after I was let go, and then we actually ran into each other in Prague. I think is the first time that I seen him. He was the general manager for the U.S. team, and I was there with Team Canada. We were actually walking around the square in downtown Prague, and he was having dinner and on an outside terrace. And I went over to him, and I actually leaned over. He was with Mike Sullivan, who's the Olympic coach, and then an agent. And I leaned over, and they were talking hockey, and I said something to the effect of, if you didn't fire your coach, you would have made the playoffs. And he just kind of turned around, and we had a big hug. And obviously I was joking, and but we had a big hug, and we had a good chat. All my family was there. Yeah, I get what happened, right? Do I agree with Billy Guerin, the Minnesota Wild, firing me? No. Do I think we were about to come out of it? Do I think I could have still, helped that team get to the playoffs and where we're looking to go in the future? Yeah, of course I did. But I understand why, and a lot of different dimensions, and we're not going to get into all of them, but I get it. It's the game. You never burn bridges, but I don't hold grudges either. I don't, because Billy did that and felt he had to do that. That doesn't mean it's a personal attack on me. It's just he felt that the way for the hockey club to get better last year and to make the playoffs was to let me go and bring in another guy. So he did that. So moving forward, he's made phone calls for me. He actually was the first one to say If I wanted to go to the World Championships, he'll throw my name around, and so yeah, I have a great deal of respect for Billy. Again, I'll reiterate: did I like what he did? Do I agree with what he did? No, but I understood it.
Absolutely. Everybody learns from all those. He learned from that situation. You learn from it. I mean, it seemed like everybody in the whole process went through that. Before we let you go, we have like a couple golf questions, since we have one golf question we have everybody.
It's about time. I hate talking about hockey. Golf is perfect. Let's go.
Well, from your teammates back in the day told me back in Hartford, you had a closet full of VHS tapes of golf tournaments and stuff you used to watch. So was that you studying other players, or was that just you catching up on? This is before DVR, before the internet. So like, where were all those VHS tapes come from for you?
A little both. I actually turned them over into DVDs, and I don't have. I honestly I kept a few, but yeah, I watched it for the sheer pleasure of watching the Masters, say, and Jack Nicklaus play. But no, I was able to pick up different things, where their hands were set, grips, different postures and chipping techniques and putting techniques and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I was studying at the time. You don't believe you were, but you go out after you watch a couple hours on the VHS tape, and then you go hit balls and you try a few things and tweak. And I've had one lesson in my life, so I've just kind of been self-taught by my father. Taught me first, and then now I've just kind of tweaked at different things. So yeah, I'm extremely passionate about golf, and I'll tell you a quick story. But in Columbus, the general manager and the head coach get a membership at this absolutely wonderful golf club called the Double Eagle, that's owned by the McConnell family. And it is a heavenly place. I was able to play 36 last weekend, Saturday, 36 Sunday. And I told Don Waddell after the negotiations, or after he told me, he didn't tell me that I was getting a free membership, but I said, you should have led with the free membership before we started the negotiations, because I would have signed for a hell of a lot cheaper, I'll tell you that.
What's your handicap down to now? You're down to 2 or 1, or what's your handicap?
I was at 2, but after the weekend, I'm 1-7 now.
Oh, wow. What's your top 3 courses you played?
Wingfoot is my favorite course of all time. Pebble Beach, and then probably either Olympic or Whistling Straits.
Is there a bucket list place that you haven't played that I could die and go to heaven if I played this golf course?
Well, Augusta. And I thank Billy Guerin for firing me, because I had an opportunity to go to the Masters this year. For the first time, I've always worked. So 3 buddies from Minnesota and I went down there, watched the Thursday round. That is heaven. And then we played at Hilton Head for 4 or 5 days after that. But that and St. Andrews, obviously, to play Augusta and play St. Andrews would be absolutely fantastic.
All right. Well, final question that we ask everybody from our good friends at Waggle Golf. Everyone go to getyourwaggleon.com, throw in promo code SP10, take 10% off your entire order. Dead or alive, celebrity, could be someone in theater, could be pro golfer. Who are the 3 people that would round out your dream golf foursome?
Oh my goodness. I've heard this question asked, and I guess I probably should have thought about it in the event that I did get asked. Jack Nicklaus for sure. I've had an opportunity to meet Jack. He signed a print. I have a Masters print. I met him when I played in Dallas. He was playing there, did a commercial. Anyway, for sure him. And you know what? I'm gonna just off the top of my head, I'm just gonna say my father's gone, I lost my brother, who I loved to play golf with. Both of them, the three of us played a lot together. So without putting a lot of thought into it, it would be Jack Nicklaus, and my dad and my brother would be absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome. A mixture of the family and obviously the legend himself. And I'm surprised that the names Joe Smith and Mike Russo didn't roll off your tongue there immediately for the Dream Golf Foursome. But maybe next time.
Yeah, no, it didn't even cross my mind, but
maybe a caddy situation or something.
I would love for you to, because then I could fire both of you like on the first hole.
Go right to the bar and just enjoy that. So
who would be less effective as a caddy between the two of them?
Less effective?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure that would be equally poor. Equally poor. I just pay them right off probably the first green. Just okay. After they read a putt, it would be like, okay, get out of here. I'll carry my bag.
We wouldn't want to screw up a 1.7 handicap. I don't know if we want to do that. So, well, I appreciate your time, Dean, for doing this. I know you have a busy schedule and you're in transition, getting to move into your new place in Columbus shortly. So, congratulations again. Looking forward to seeing you on opening night.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And again, I want to just reemphasize how we miss Minnesota. We loved our time there. Look forward to moving forward. But you guys, all the media there were fantastic. I really enjoyed not only the hockey, the people, but the media as well.
Well, perfect. Well, we enjoyed everyday dealings with you and learning hockey from you a little bit, and looking forward to seeing what the next step here is for you. So thanks again.
Sounds good. I'll see you opening night.